Welcome to the League of Women Voters primary candidates reception. My name is Lynn Logan and I will be your host today. The candidates will be called to the microphone for 3 minutes to discuss what motivated them to run for office and or what they believe is the most pressing problem in Dare County and or the state of North Carolina. The candidates are seated in the order that they appear in the Dare County Board of Elections website, and they will be called to speak in that order. They will have 3 minutes, although we're not exactly timing per second. I will, if you continue too long, show you the little sign, okay? All right. First up, let us begin. First up is Mr. Wally Overman. He's running for Dare County Board of Commissioners from District 1 as a Republican, representing Roanoke Island and the Dare County mainland. Mr. Overman.
Good afternoon. I'm Wally Overman, District 1. For the past 2.5 years, I've had the honor of serving the people of Dare County on the Board of Commissioners. Since my election in 2014, I have served as Vice Chairman on the most dynamic Board of Commissioners in the last 20 years. We have tackled hard issues and made decisions based on the facts, including defeat of the proposed sales tax redistribution plan that would have cost the county a devastating $12 to $15 million per year. The first ever proactive dredging project for Oregon Inlet, supporting an estimated $545 million economic impact. The first ever agreement with the NCDOT Ferry Division to use a state dredge for a project in Hatteras Inlet. Fully funding Dare County schools and covering the state mandated teacher raises while ensuring accountability for school building maintenance. Increasing the fund balance by $1.77 million and reducing the insurance deficit by $682,000. We began the first ever town hall meetings to listen to the ideas and concerns of our residents. We're building a state-of-the-art tri-county E911 EOC facility to better serve our residents in case of personal or countywide emergencies. We had an excellent audit this year, and we are turning the corner financially through debt reduction, savings, efficiencies, and growth that will enable positive impacts for our employees, businesses, and residents. Additionally, Dare County's bond rating was just upgraded to the highest ever at AA+, the second highest rating possible, due to Dare's, quote, strong economic characteristics and very strong management conditions, unquote. Those are Standard & Poor's words in their assessment of our county. We have begun a process to define potential economic development options, working with North Carolina State University, that will hopefully result in more year-round employment opportunities for our citizens. And we have instructed the county manager to begin the process of choosing a firm to conduct a comprehensive salary study this year for all county employees, and have designated funds in the budget to begin to address the issues of low wages and compression. I've worked hard to help mold these decisions and feel that these experiences have given me insights into issues facing our county and have added to my understanding of the unique qualifications and teamwork required for this office. I love Dare County, and I work tirelessly to make the right decisions based upon facts presented on each issue, so that the ultimate result is the proper decision for Dare County. There are no other motives. I only want the best for our county, and I will continue with your help to make decisions based on the facts. My commitment to you is that I will strive, working with my fellow commissioners, to make the best decisions for every resident. I respectfully ask for your support on March 15th so that we can continue our good work for Dare County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Overman. Next up, please, go ahead. Next up is Francis Giambrone. He's also seeking a chair at the Board of Commissioners for District 1, Roanoke Island, Dare County mainland, and he's also running as a Republican.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for being here today. My name is Francis Giambrone. I'm a retired police chief in Manio. I have about 32 years experience in local government leadership. I chose to speak today about what has motivated me to run for office. And when I thought about that and I answered the questions that the League had sent out, If you think about it, after weathering a devastating housing crisis for 7 years, an exponential shrinking of the middle class across our country, and specifically here in Dare County, we're now on the precipice of unparalleled growth. We need to refocus and develop a vision to put our local people ahead of other special interests. In 2014, the Dare County voters sent a resounding message to local government by electing the first Republican majority on the Board of Commissioners in memorable history. Now, I believe that the expectations that the electorate had for a bold shift from the business as usual mentality and governmental philosophy in Dare County was going to be coming to an end. It has been met, rather, as you've heard, with just defending a voting record by my opponent. You've heard things like, we had a good audit, and we had a great bond rating, and we fully funded our schools. I've got news, folks. That's what good government is supposed to do. Those aren't things that we're to pound our chest over. That's what you should expect of anyone who represents you in local government. Those are things that we're supposed to do. After serving as a politically appointed member of the board, my opponent has failed to understand the value that Dare County employees provide to our citizens and our county's people have suffered. Now, a lot of people have told me that that's a Democrat thing to do, to fight for county employees and salaries and benefits and dignity. And I'll tell you, whether it's Democrat or Republican, it's just the right thing to do, and this current board leadership has failed to do that after ample opportunity. Morale amongst our hardworking county employees is at a record low, and stagnant wages and shrinking benefits have cracked the foundation of our most precious resource, and that is our people. As a result, failure to understand that raising the overall quality of life for our citizens takes more than just a commitment to cut taxes at all costs. You heard about a salary study. What you didn't hear is that salary study is going to cost us somewhere, taxpayers, you and me, somewhere between $75,000 to $150,000. Now that draws a sharp contrast between me and my opponent. Actual government experience will tell you that we can get that type of thing done for free. We can get good organizations, the Institute of Government, any professional organization will do that for you. The problem that you have is you have to have the political will to pull the trigger when the results come back that we're woefully deficient in funding our employees and their salaries and their benefits. The other thing that could be said is that if you were paying $150,000 for a salary study, then there's certainly the opportunity, and my experience has borne this out, that the results of that salary study could be manipulated in the light most favorable to the county, especially if there's not political will to pull that trigger. Now, I believe that our citizens deserve the best elected representation on their Board of Commissioners that understands how to effectively and efficiently make our government work at a minimal cost to our taxpayers. And I believe that we can do that by eliminating waste, by taking and building public-private partnerships with our community and our business community and people that actually create jobs. We can accomplish our goals without raising local taxes. And we won't have to pound our chest about boilerplate issues that we should be doing anyway. Now, I hope to bring my 32 years of government experience, practical government experience. When I say that to say this, that anybody can run on the board and say, I've served in government, or I've served on a board, and raise my hand to approve a budget. But I've actually implemented the budgets that folks that represent you have put out there, and had to make it work on a shoestring, and have a long record of strategically and effectively making those budgets work for many, many years serving our state, both locally and on a national level and on a state level. Okay, thank you very much. Again, I believe if we clearly focus on our local issues of importance, we can actually and realistically solve those issues that we're dealing with. My name is Francis Giambrone. I'm not asking for any of your money. I'm self-funding my campaign. I know that you had a challenge to have a pledge to have everybody do the campaigns in a good way. And I would challenge my opponent to do the same challenge that I'm doing, to run for office without taking any contributions from any local person in Dare County. I'm self-funding my campaign because I think it's the right thing to do. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Mr. John Towler. He's running for a Board of Commissioners seat also for District 2, which includes Nags Head, Collington, and KDH. He is running as a Democrat. Mr. Towler.
Thank you. How are you all doing this afternoon? I am John Towler. This is my first campaign, and you can tell because I had a nice little badge made up for myself that I promptly forgot coming here today, but fortunately the league made us. But I don't think it sticks to the shirt, so I'm just hold it up if you forget my name. I'm one of 3 law enforcement officers that are running this year, and I think cops have a good background for this job. My 2 fellow law enforcement officers are both retired, so I know where they're finding the time to run. My time as working and a father and having a second job, it's a little harder to come by. I have moved here in 1993, and like the bumper sticker says, I'm stuck here on purpose. I love Dare County. I love it even more since my 2 children came along, and now realizing how wonderful our school systems are and wanting to keep up the quality of that. The first thing I've come to realize from paying attention to politics for a long time and then paying with more focus on Dare County issues is that the threats to our county are not necessarily from within the county. First, they're coming from without. Our first problem is Raleigh. Raleigh is slashing funding to education. They're cutting back benefits for unemployment and for people who need a little bit more help. And we can't do much about that at the county level, but if we don't recognize it, as the problem and realize that, you know, the burden's on us now, then we're not going to be looking for the right answers. The second problem that we're facing is also something out of our hands, and that's climate change, and where we're seeing sea level rise affecting our shoreline. What are we going to do about that? We have 3 choices in that area. You can retreat, which means we give up on our property owners along the beachfront and just let the ocean claim what it will. That's not really viable. We have rebuilding through seawalls and groins, and having read quite a bit about those issues, I don't think that's the way to go, because they either cause problems north or south of where they're built, or they are an expensive issue. And then you have renourishment, which is the way that most of the towns are going, and the county is going, and it's probably the best of all the not great solutions to it, but it's the one to go with. However, how you go about doing that is important, and that's one of the issues that I have with the current board leadership is, in particular, this municipal service district that they've created that is only going to tax a few dozen houses down in Buxton to pay for their project. Look, Nags Head has done a project, Kill Devil Hills is going to do a project, Duck and Kitty Hawk are all doing projects, and they have figured that going through a sharing basis where the burden is shared is the best way, and I agree with that, and I don't see how this county's going about it the way they're fixing on doing it is the right way to go. Another issue that we're facing is with the inlets, Oregon and Hatteras Inlet, both equally important to the economy. The problem that's been with this board is that they've created this atmosphere of pitting interests within Dare County against each other. There's always been a little bit of tug of war, but with the inlet issues, it has really raised its ugly head and caused problems in the county. We have fishermen now butting heads with hotel owners. We have boat builders now crossing swords with beachfront property owners. You know, this atmosphere of adversity is wrong, and it's created by this board because they tried to seize control of the occupancy tax with their friend Senator Bill Cook, and on 3 occasions it's been fought back, but that is creating problems where we don't need problems. I'm going to run out of time here shortly, I can tell, so let me just say that being a police officer one of the things that you learn early on is that your success at this job doesn't come from what you're wearing down here. It comes from here, and talking with people and resolving issues and finding solutions. I've spent 21 years doing that, and I'd like to bring those skills that I have developed in that area to Dare County Board of Commissioners if you will vote for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Bobby Culpepper. He's also vying for a seat on the Commissioners. He's representing District 2, which is Nags Head, Collington, and KDH. He is also running as a Democrat. Mr. Culpepper.
Thank you. I'm Robert Culpepper. I'm a native of the Outer Banks, went to Manio Elementary School, Manio High School, graduated with a bachelor degree in computer science from North Carolina State University. My father went to Kitty Hawk Elementary School and Manio High School. My grandfather only went to Nags Head Elementary School because that's all they had. Kitty Hawk was part of Currituck County back when he was at that age. There's a lot of problems facing our county, and most of these problems require tax money to fix. Problem is, on the wages that I make and many other people make, we simply can't afford more taxes. The simple solution is that we need to raise our wages. I've mentioned several times that we have lots of visiting workers that come into the county and work. They really don't contribute any income tax to speak of. They don't contribute very little sales tax. I mean, why pay Outer Banks prices when you can pay prices for things in Elizabeth City? I had always suggested we need some way to ask them to contribute at least for their own cost of services. If they contribute for their own cost of services, they won't be able to work as cheaply, which means the people that live here will be able to make a little bit more money. The second problem that I see, it's a bit more vague. We are privileged to be able to come together here and have a meeting. We're privileged to be able to have elected representatives to listen to what we want them to do and to carry out. We're privileged to be able to have an election system. But this privilege can be taken away if our courts decide that, well, there's a compelling interest, that we need to do this or we need to do that. The concept is called judicial review. It's been around for hundreds of years. It was developed back in England about the same time Jamestown was formed, but England did away with it in 1680. They said that the legislature is the one that's supposed to have the final power. We didn't do that. We don't really have judicial review in our state constitution, therefore we don't have any checks and balances for judicial review because it's not in there. As a result, our state courts can overrule our county commissioners. Our state courts can overrule our General Assembly. I believe this is going to become one of the biggest problems that we face. We're beginning to see more and more of the courts doing things that should be done politically. That's why we have elected representatives. We don't have law suggesters. Mr. Warren Judge is not running for a law suggester. He's running for a lawmaker. We need to make sure that our legislatures and that our county commissioners have the authority to do what it is we're asking them to do and not appointed officials dictating to us. If you're interested in the subject, the Chief Justice of the state of New York, the Supreme Court in New York, Mr. Robert Yates wrote a number of papers about this back when the United States was first being formed. He was a judge. He understood what judges do. He explained the situation very clearly. Unfortunately, it wasn't really paid much attention to. A lot of what he was concerned about is beginning to happen more and more. I appreciate the privilege of being able to come before you and speak. I appreciate the privilege of being able to run for office. Even though it's supposed to be a guaranteed right, anything that we think is a right is subject to interpretation by the courts. Anything that we think is a privilege, they can simply step in and change it. There are no real checks and balances. When the court makes a decision, the legislature can't override their veto. When the courts decide that something the legislature did is wrong, the legislature can't override the veto. There are no real checks and balances. What it would require would be a constitutional amendment at the state level to include judicial review, formally included, not as it is now, kind of there but not really there, and to put in the necessary checks and balances. As a county commissioner, that's one of the things I would do, as well as constantly seek better government. I realize that we are not an island, that we do require our county has to go through the state for most everything we do, but it is well worth doing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Culpepper. Next up is Mr. Steve House, who is seeking a seat on the Dare County Board of Commissioners, running as Republican for District 3, which includes Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores, and the town of Duck.
Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the League of Women Voters for setting up this forum. They've done an outstanding job at Dare County for years and years and years. I just want to take the opportunity to thank you again for providing this. I want to continue to serve the citizens of Dare County. I've got 30 years of experience in emergency services, and it starts from being a junior firefighter, on being a firefighter, a paramedic, and also working with emergency management, also working through the Red Cross Disaster Services, and also finally ending up my career in the fire service as a nationally certified fire, arson, and explosion investigator, which also covers law enforcement as well. My family has been involved with politics since before the Civil War, mainly in the Confederate and the federal level. It has become a mainstay in our family, and now it's been deemed my turn. Main things that we see happening in Dare County, we need to promote more year-round, sustainable, diversifiable jobs. The Outer Banks is known for R&R, rest and relaxation, but also if you come to work, it's either retail or real estate. Let's reverse that. Let's open up more jobs, more different opportunities, especially with our watermen. Our watermen and their families have suffered long enough. We need to keep our waterways open, because not only does that bring more jobs into the area, it sustains a way of life on Dare County that we've seen over the past few years is starting to die off. And that is something we just cannot stand to happen in Dare County. I want to do all that I can to help in that area. We've got to keep our inlets open. NOAA recently is looking at expanding the sanctuaries over shipwrecks, which will again cut down on the amount of open waters for fishing. Also, the federal government is actually looking at land lease options off the coast of Carolina. If they do that and a leaseholder grabs that piece of property of wide open ocean, that leaseholder can determine that water is now closed for fishing. It can only be done for what he wants it to do. And that is just something we cannot stand. Beach nourishment in the northern part of Dare County, which is like the Southern Shores, Kitty Hawk, Culpepper Hills, it has to happen. It's 10 years overdue. Hopefully it would have happened this year. I understand with budget restraints. Being in emergency services for so many years, I understand what budget restraints are, and you have to do with what you can. And looking forward to extending that so we can actually get that beach nourishment project done next year. Our education in Dare County, we are above the state average across the board, and that comes from the state superintendent himself. I want to sustain that, keep that going. There's always room for improvement. We can actually make it better. And I'm all for bringing in new programs to our high schools as well. We have a severe drug problem in Dare County. We can't hide it. It's here. But there's 3 avenues to fight it. We're not going to arrest our way out of it. We need to educate our children and our adults on the dangers of drug use. And we also need to work with our Department of Health to get treatment programs available for the ones that want to come forward. And that's how we can help defeat the problem here in Dare County. I don't want to be a part of the solution, not just sit back and watch it run rampant. Again, I want to thank the League of Women Voters, and I would love to have your support, and I will fight to do whatever I can for the county with your help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Mr. Jimmy Ray Watts. He's running as a Republican for a seat on the Dare County Commissioners for District 3, again including Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores, and the town of Duck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Watts.
First off, I'm one of the policemen that Mr. Towler was talking about, but I'm the recently retired one. I retired in December of this year. I've been a police officer down here for 30 years. I've lived down here for 30 years. I've worked down here for 35 years. I worked down here 5 years for a building supply company before I came down here and became a police officer. Done a lot of things down there. I've been involved a lot. I've had 3 children go through the Dare County school system. I know the good and the bad of the school system. We have a decent school system, but it can be better, as everything can. I've worn a lot of hats down here. I've been a coach for football, baseball. Had a lot of kids grow up, been a mentor to them. I developed several community-based projects through the police department. One was Shop with a Cop, and that's been going on for 17 years, and it gets better every year. One of the main reasons, my motivation, I have served as citizens of Dare County in one capacity, and that's a police officer. And as Mr. Towler said, there's more to that than just wearing that gun belt. But I have been on the front line of some of the problems we have in Dare County. Beach nursement's one of them. I've stood out on the road when it washed away in the freezing rain. I stood out there when the pier was chopped in half in Kitty Hawk. When I worked in Nag's Head, I stood down there, I watched all the houses go in. If we don't have a beach, we're not going to have people to come down here, because that's what they come for. I think that's our biggest problem facing us right now. I also have friends as commercial fishermen, and if they can't get out of that inlet, that's a big plus for this area, is recreational fishing and commercial fishing and sport fishing. There's just our economic development. Everybody's touched on it. We all have the same, we need more jobs down here year round. We need like a convention center, something to keep our people sustained the whole time. I know when I was in Nag's Head, the beach road was moved for a convention center to go there. That was back in 1989. That didn't happen. People did what they did, and there was houses built in there, but that was originally what that beach road was moved for. We got 60 miles away from here. They have conventions year round. And I can tell you one thing, Dare County is a lot more beautiful place than Norfolk, Virginia is to attract people down here to come for, conventions and things of that nature. And she's getting ready to throw a paddle up on me. Again, I'm running for commissioner for Dare County, and I will support. Thank you for your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those are the primary candidates for the Dare County Board of Commissioners. Now we have 3 candidates who are vying for the NC House of Representatives, and we will begin with Ms. Beverly Boswell, and she is running as a Republican for the House from District maybe 6.
For right now, it's District 6. I'm Beverly Boswell, your GOP candidate for NC House District 6, which covers Washington, Hyde, Dare, and parts of Beaufort. I don't know what that's about, but they were drawn a long time ago, so parts of Beaufort, not all of it. I want to let you know now that I'm one of the proud seats of the Dare County Board of Commissioners, and I think we have had a good year. Of course, there's always room for improvement. There's room for improvement for everything. As things evolve, you have to evolve with it, or you'll be left behind. What the question is, what has motivated me to run for office? Well, I'm a firm believer in community. I believe that it's everyone's duty to participate in your community and reach out to your neighbor. I've been dedicated to the betterment of my community and its citizens. I would like to continue my work in a slightly different capacity. When I win the House seat, I'll be able to relay the needs of Eastern North Carolina to my fellow legislators. I understand the uniques of the district and will be able to share those concerns with all in Raleigh. I will be able to offer suggestions and solutions to these unique challenges. I have developed some good working relationships in Raleigh, and I would like to continue to see those. Thank you, Vice Chair Overman, for telling about the different challenges that we have met throughout this year in Dare County. The inlet, like you were talking about, both Hatteras and Oregon Inlet, coming up with the correct funding that we need for our schools, and on and on and on. Each one of those is a separate entity into itself, and each thing is unique, and there are different statutes that you have to meet that a lot of people aren't aware of when you do these budgetings. But I just want to let you know, thank you League of Women Voters for putting on this form. It's very helpful to the citizens out here in all the counties. But I'm Beverly Boswell, District 6 GOP. I am a citizen representative. I believe in fiscal responsibility without raising taxes. I believe in education and transparency, and I hope I will get your support on March the 15th, unless something changes. Then it'll be a later date.
Good. All right, thank you very much. Next to the microphone is Mr. Warren Judge, seeking a seat in the House of Representatives, North Carolina. He is running as a Democrat for, again, District 6. Warren?
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you all. Thank the League of Women Voters. Year after year, you all outdo yourselves, and we appreciate that. And thank all of y'all for coming out on a Sunday afternoon. I am Warren Judge. I've been a sitting county commissioner, Dare County Commissioner, for 16 years, and 11 of those 16 years, I've led the board as chairman. I know how important it is to have good representation in Raleigh. We've served under some good representatives, and we've served under some less good representatives. Your county government is dependent oftentimes on what they do in Raleigh and what they decide in Raleigh, and they don't always decide it based on what our particular needs are. And that's why I've chose to give up a seat that I've cherished with the job that I've always said was the only job I ever wanted to have, was a county commissioner, to represent you and Hyde and Washington and Beaufort County north of the Pamlico River in Raleigh. I know the towns. You all know how I've crisscrossed Dare County on a daily basis, and I've done that with our district since late in November. I know the towns, I know the counties, I know their problems, their challenges, their needs, and I'm going to be a good voice for them. From our children to our senior citizens, from our active working folks to our retired folks, from our business owners and business managers, shopkeepers, from our children and our teachers to our government employees. I will represent everybody and represent them well. I'm going to represent those of you all who vote for me. I'm going to represent those of you all who vote for my opponent. I'll represent those of you all who don't vote, and I'll represent those of you all who can't vote. There are many challenges facing our district. Our biggest challenge in a global picture is the urban-rural divide that is rapidly developing in Raleigh. Our current representative, Tyne, represents 3.5 counties, one person. Mecklenburg, Guilford, Wake, Orange, Cumberland, and New Hanover County control the state. 5 counties, 6 counties will have enough votes to control the House. There's a huge injustice. We're just not being represented well. How do I fix that? My experience as an elected county commissioner, my experience as a small businessman. I've met payrolls. I've met payrolls in the dead of winter when the bridge has been knocked out and there's nobody coming to Dare County. I deal every January with the new insurance rates for my group insurance policy. How do I continue to afford giving that benefit and making the payments myself? I understand they're working folks. I understand their problems. We've got to carry that message to Raleigh, and I'm the guy that can do it for you. And very quickly, 2 big issues. jobs in our economy. We all talk. I've listened to candidates for 10 years talking about being the jobs candidate. I'm gonna stir the economy. The first thing we got to do is keep the jobs we have. We've got to be careful with overregulation, both ordinances at our local level, legislation at our state level. We need to invite the stakeholders to the tables. We need to be a true representative government. We need to govern, not rule. We need to encourage our entrepreneurs to reinvest in themselves, to reinvest in their businesses, and that will help attract additional investment to our county. Secondly, education. If you have a well-educated child graduating from high school, he or she will go off and they can come back. They can return after their career or in the military or their higher education. They can come back and contribute to Dare County. And our community college system can train workers. This is what attracts outside businesses to come to you. But we need, and last thing on education, we are backing up. We are backing up on our education. You'll be told that we spend more money today than we ever have on education. That's correct when you look at the gross dollar. Since 2008, per pupil is down $101. We have 900,000 more students in the state school system. We do not have adequate funding. Our teachers are paid 46 out of 50 states in the nation. My goal is to raise that to, we're the 10th most populous state. We need to be in the top 10 states of teachers' pay.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Judge. Thank you. Next up is Judy Justice. She's running as a Democrat for the NC State seat from District 6. Judy.
All right, good afternoon. Wow, this is a nice turnout. And of course, I'd love to thank the League of Women Voters who's been doing this year after year. I think you're the second largest league in the state. You guys do a great job. This is what I'm hearing anyway. And thank all, as I said, thank you for coming out. I'm speaking to you today because I'm running for office for a very definite reason. I want to give a voice to all the people of this district, not just a select few. I am not a politician. I am an average voter. I am a retired educator. I also have a child still in public school here, so I'm also a parent. I work 2 or 3 jobs like everybody else in this county during the summer months to try to lend a hand. Everybody pitches in and to survive on a more expensive area. Dare County is more expensive than the other 4 counties I'm running in. As Mr. Judge and also Ms. Boswell have already mentioned, they are high. Washington, part of Beaufort, and Dare. Now, those 4 counties are very, very different. I grew up in eastern North Carolina on the coast. My father was a fisherman and a boat builder. I know what it's like to be poor and rural. Those are what the other 3 counties that I'm in are about, and I will be able to represent them just as I represent the people here in Dare. And one of the main reasons I'm running is because of my background, why we're sitting in this room right now, education. I've been in this room many times working as a substitute with these kids. There's nothing more important in our society today than our kids. And our education system in this state is in bad shape. We have dropped from 24th in 2010 for teacher pay in the nation down to 47th. We are 49th in something though, in per pupil expenditure. If we don't save our schools, we're going to be in an awful bad shape. We're laying off teachers. We're laying off teachers' assistants. We're causing people to leave the state. Teachers are leaving our state. What we need is somebody like me with a background in education. I had education experience in the classroom as a school administrator and leader. That's why I'm retired from education, but I still come in. I love being able to substitute. We need those kind of people in the legislature. Of the 178 members in the legislature right now, only 17 of them have any kind of education background. What do they know about what they're talking about? Over 50% of the state budget is in education, yet they're making these decisions that are destroying our state. I want to get in there and fight for these kids. I want to get in there and fight for you. Another thing, too, is when you look around the room right now, let's be honest, I'm a woman. There's about 50% male and female. Look at the stage up here. There's 2 women, and there's 9 people up here. We need women in the legislature. This is huge, ladies. It's been almost 100 years since we've got the vote, and yet we're still not represented. We're not looking for superiority. We're looking for equality. And I am one of the few people that are actually running for the seat that is a female. At this point, there are, as I said, 178 members in that legislature, 72% of them are men. We only have 28% women. Now, I can stand up here and tell you how much I care about the environment, and I do, but our environment's under attack too. Offshore drilling, fracking, destroying our water levels, the safety of our water. These are all for our future and our kids. I am a grandmother and a mother, and I care about that. I'm running for that reason too. I'm also running for the economy. If you do these other things, if you bring up good education, if you have a safe environment, the economy is going to improve, especially if you have a quality of opportunity, which we do not have right now in this state. At this point, there is the top 20% of income earners are paying less taxes, and I, as a regular taxpayer for the last 2 years, have not made any more money. I'm paying more in state taxes, and that's most of you out here. So those are some of the main reasons I'm running. I'm running mainly, as I said, because I care about education, but I have a leadership background. I'm a regular person, and if you vote for me on March the 15th, and get your friends to come out and vote too. I don't have a lot of money to fund this campaign, but I do have a lot of positive energy that people are using. So bring that out on March 15th and vote for me so I can get in that legislature, bring intelligence about what you need and what our future needs. Thank you.